you go. So today, hi, I'm Cameron. I am the accessibility nerd, and today I'm working on an accessibility speed run of fixing accessibility issues using an AI agent built with the Sublayer gem. So to start, we can look at the sample file. I created some synthetic test data that has a bunch of accessibility errors in it, just generic React component. And I want to run my agent against that file. So I found 34 accessibility issues. The first one is a missing lang property. So I have the option to say yes, approve, no, do not approve, which is the equivalent of skipping, or retry. I'm going to retry and tell the model that I want use EN/US. So right now it's using EN. So I want United States dialect, I guess, on the English lang attribute. So I can it updated it, use the correct lang value, and I'm going to the next fix. So redundant alt attribute. We don't need the words image or photo. It's redundant for an image element. So this looks good. It's just removing the description entirely from the image. In retrospect, that there might have been a better solution there, but that's fine. Anchors must have content. So I'm gonna retry this and say use the text. Oh, so I'll try that. Yeah, looks good. So I have another error, which is the href attribute in a link has to be valid. So this is just a string. I'm going to retry this, use an internal anchor href. Instead of using JavaScript void, I'm going to use a pound symbol that links to a section, which is an internal href. Looks good. Next one is ARIA active descendant needs to be, must have a tab index. Looks good. ARIA bogus is not a valid ARIA attribute. Sounds good. And then probably ARIA bogus. I think this is a duplicate. And role presentation. So invalid role is not a valid ARIA role. So this is changing it to role presentation. I'm going to say yes. Role presentation just removes the semantics from the element, but since the div has no semantics anyways, it's probably redundant. This one's interesting. So visible non-interactive elements with click handlers must have at least one keyboard listener. So what's interesting about this is it's using roll button and it's looking at the key code enter. So I'm going to add key code space. In the key down handler. I'm going to ask it to also listen for keyboard space because when you activate a control, a button control, it takes both space and enter. This is a little squirrely. E.type click. So we're going to try that again. Check for both enter and space and key. All right. So let's try it again. Handle click. Handle click looks at event key enter and event key space, and it says alert click. Yeah, that'll do. All right. So what else? Click tab index of -1. avoid non-native interactive elements. So this is not quite right. Add an appropriate role. So we need to retry this. Say add a role of button. Okay, roll button looks good. Roll button. Yes. Headings must have content. We're gonna say use the content page. Instead of just putting generic heading content, I can specify what content I want to be used. Yes, approve. What's next? Iframe has title. We want to say, call this, the title should be some video. Okay, looks good. Yep. Iframe has the title of some video. Redundant alt attribute. This might be a duplicate. I'm going to skip this because we already fixed that error. Visible non-interactive elements. Let's have at least one keyboard listener. All right, great. So we already have the handle click method. So we're going to approve that. Okay. And then this is.
Trying to lick you.
I know. So this issue is that the native HTML is not possible to use appropriate role as support for tabbing. So these non-native interactive elements of non-native HTML. Okay, so this is interesting. We're just making sure that we have on key down, on click events for all of these elements. So yes, form label must be associated with a control. This one is not correct. I want to say what could change. Associate the username label with the input using HTML4. Let's see if this works. There we go. HTML4 username. Yeah, looks good. ID username. Media elements such as audio and video must have a track. So this is just adding a track inside of the media, the video element. I would have to go back and add these captions, but for now, we can come back. Ostensibly, we would come back to that and add captions after this remediation. This one looks like it was already handled. On mouse over must be accompanied by on focus. Looks good. So we added an on mouse over. Add on focus event. I'm not sure why it's handling key codes here, but generally, add a mouse over, add a handler for both mouse over and focus that is a no-op. So we just want to create an empty handler. Looks good. All right, so we're getting close to the end, I think. Remove access key. Yes. Tab index should only be declared on interactive elements. Removing tab index from non-interactive elements. This is a little contrived, but it looks correct. Autofocus prop should not be used. Great, removed. Do not use marquee elements because they can create visual accessibility issues. Great, removed. Click handler should have at least one keyboard listener. This was already fixed. Elements with button roll must be tabbable. This was probably already fixed also, yes. Non-interactive elements with click handlers. That was already fixed. Native HTML is not possible. Use role to support for tabbing mouse keyboard. Yes, already fixed. Tab index should be declared on interactive elements. Already fixed. Avoid positive integer values for tab index. I think this was fixed as well. Yep. Element button has an implicit role button. Great. Okay. So that removed an additional role. Uh, extraneous role from the button element. Tab index should be declared on interactive elements. Should only be declared on interactive elements. This was fixed. Positive integer values. This was fixed. Oh, interesting. So this is wrong. It's already working, so I'm going to skip that. Writing to file. And wrapping the emoji in a span. Yes. True.
Could you read this off?
And I think that might be it. Okay. True. Skip that. Okay, this is the end. This is the entire diff. And I will post the results after this, but all in all, we've augmented my domain expertise with AI to accelerate this process and speed up the accessibility remediation. So thanks for joining me.